Another Vega Testnet Jam, which we are now rebranding to Vega Fairground Jam as of last week. Here is a lovely session where we work with Trader Tamlin and we try out different things on the testnet. We go through tutorials and we learn about all the different functionality of the Vega testnet has packed into it. Today we're going to be covering deal tickets and order types. Before we start, I'm gonna just show you how easy it is to create an account on Testnet so you guys can follow along at home. And then I will disappear. Tamlin will share her screen and she will take you through the tutorial. So let me just get started by sharing my screen. And if I go to, this is the official website for the Vega Testnet, Vega Fairground. And you can see here we have it all working as it should. And it shows you can take a ride in the Vega console either from that button or from this one up here. And if I click on it now, it takes me to the console. And then it's very, very easy to make a wallet. You just click Connect Vega Wallet. You can either use a local hosted wallet, and we have a tutorial for how to do that on our Medium pages, or you can find the info on our Discord as well. But I'm just going to make a Vega hosted wallet, which is a bit quicker just for the time being to show you guys how to do it. You click that, you click create an account, and then username can be anything from my name, Dag123, we'll do Dag321, and then my passphrase, which will be something. I create that, and now I have a new key. An account is there. I just save the password because I'm not going to use this account. And then from there, you create a new key. You're logged in and you can deposit, withdraw. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can look at the video that I made with Chris a few weeks back. It's on the Vega YouTube channel, and I'll link it below this video if you're watching on the YouTube, where you can see how to deposit assets on the Vega testnet. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Tamlin. I hope that was a useful tutorial. And yeah, for any other support, any other guidance, check us out on our Discord, where you can hang around with the team on the hashtag Fairground channel. And then also, yeah, on our other social medias or other places if you want to reach out. Okay, over to you, Tamlin.
Thank you, Dagan. Hi, everyone. So today, for today's Fairground Jam, I thought we'd have a sort of deeper, closer look at the deal ticket and how to put different order types on. For those who have already been following Vega and playing around with the testnet, you know that there are a couple of different trading modes that markets can be in. So all the markets on Vega are futures markets, and they can operate either through a fully decentralized central limit order book or a fully decentralized auction. And the limit order book markets can or are placed from time to time into protective auctions, particularly to help circuit break the market if there are very rapid extreme price moves, or to sort of manage the market during periods of low liquidity. So today I'm going to take you through the deal tickets, so all the different order types that you can do on Vega, both when the market is in the continuous trading using the central limit order book and when it's in an auction. And I'll also give you a sneak peek, and we'll put on a liquidity order as well to wrap things up. Following this, as usual, I and some of the team will be then moving to an open Zoom room where you're welcome to come and join us. We would love to help get you started using the Fairgrounds. So let me just organize my screen a little. I'm going to make this full screen because it just looks a lot prettier. Great. Okie dokie. So let's have a look. What have we got here? So I've opened up a Aave workspace. When you get started, you'll land on this My Workspace. That isn't looking quite right, but let's leave that for now. Basically, you might have a slightly different view when you very first get started. The console is a lot like your typical kind of Reuters, Bloomberg. You can move windows around. There's lots of things you can do, and we will definitely be showing more of that functionality over the next few weeks on our Fairground Jams. I'm not going to focus on that for now, but what I am going to point out to you is there's this window which lists all the markets. So from this window that lists all the markets, you can very easily go and get a workspace that's useful for trading a particular market. So let's look at the BTC USD market. So if I click on that, it brings up this like quick view. And what I find pretty helpful is just to create a new workspace using this. And that just creates a pre-configured workspace that I find quite useful. Oh dear, what's happening? I think my laptop's a little sluggish today, and I think, bear with me, I think it's just finding itself. So here we go, we have the BTC US dollar workspace, and you can see up there that all the different workspaces are listed up the top here. So this is a futures market. If you want to know more about it, you can go look at the market data. You can see the different specification of all the different aspects of the market. Here, if you scroll down, you see market details. This is one of like a series of monthly futures markets that expires end of June. Cool. So what I want to do, as I said, is take you through the deal tickets. So the deal ticket is in my workspace right now in the top left. And to trade this Bitcoin US dollar market, I'm going to need the settlement asset of the market as collateral. So I've already gotten ready for this ahead of time. And so I've already made sure that I've run the faucet. We're connected to the Roxton Testnet. And so there are some contracts that are essentially test versions of DAI, BTC, Euro, USDC, etc. And our governance asset for this network, which is called T-Vote. And it's very easy to get collateral. I won't take you through it now, but you can basically get to it here by going into your key and going and clicking deposit withdraw and running those faucets. You need to be connected to an Ethereum wallet, such as MetaMask, to do that. Okay, so what was I showing you here? Oh yes, I wanted to look to see what the settlement asset of the market was. And the settlement asset here is the test DAI asset. And if you look in my collateral window here, you can see that I have just over 100,000 test DAI to play with. Great. So let's go to the deal ticket and look at all the different ways that you can place orders on this futures market. So a little while back, I did a Testnet for beginners session where I talked a little bit about the central limit order book. You can see over in the sort of middle right here, the view of the order book. So you can see what the best offer at the moment is. It's 38, oh, it's clicking around 939 point something, 0.03734. And the best bid is 0.03733. So nice tight spread there. And then sort of working your way down at the least competitive bids and then working your way up at the least competitive offers. So I talked through the difference between a limit and a market order. So that's the two different types on offer for a central limit order book. And then of course, a very special Vega order type, which we'll finish up with today, is this liquidity provision. But a limit order basically allows you to set a limit price on the volume that you're willing to trade. So say, let's just start with a quantity of one to say nice and easy. And let's just say that I want to buy, but I don't really want to pay as much as the best bid at the moment. So I might put in a price that's 38,979.600. Ooh, has that just moved massively? It has. I'm going to put in just a really low. So 38,900, so that we don't, I don't think I need the decimals, but I can add them in there. Now I have a choice. Do I want to do this? This field here is called time and force, and it's to do with like how long this order stays around. How long is it valid for? So a good till cancel just means that I, as a trader, am responsible for canceling that order. So let's start with that, and then I'll take you through the other timing forces that are possible. Now, very excitingly, we have just recently added a couple of fields here that help a trader understand what the potential fees on this order would be if they are the price taker. So on Vega, it's a maker-taker fee model. And so Actually, in this case, if I was putting a really low price on, I would probably end up having my order sit on the order book and be a passive order. And so actually, if it traded, I wouldn't be paying the fee. The person who sold to me would be the one paying the price taking fee. The other useful field that is entered on this deal ticket is this margin estimate. It just helps me understand how much collateral I need to put this order on. So it's looking like I need to have 890 die approximately. And this is an estimate. If you hover over this, there's some caveats about this calculation. It's in particular and importantly, it's just assuming that you have no other positions, no other orders or positions. So it's just saying if you were doing this, from a zero position starting point, which is actually what we're doing. Because if you have a look down in the bottom right, this is my positions window, and you can see that the market we're looking at the moment has just switched into a monitoring auction. Don't worry about that. It probably will only last 10 seconds. We've had we've been playing around a little bit with Testnet at the moment, and our bots are just essentially causing the markets to flick into auction and out again quite a bit at the moment. But this BTC USD market, you can see this is my positions here, and I have no open volume, so I have no positions on this market at the moment. So that means that that margin estimate will be pretty much what I will be charged when I put this order on. I'm just going to wait for it to come back out. Actually, I can put this order on anyway, so I'm going to go good till cancelled. We've got the 38,900 still, and I'm going to put the order on anyway. And so when we come back out of auction anyway, so let's click long. Right, so what happens is this order has now been processed by the network. Remembering this is a fully decentralized distributed system going on here. This order has been processed, and I am now have an open order of +1. It's at the limit price of 38,900. So that's the most I'm willing to buy for. Okay, so we've flicked back into an auction. But nonetheless, even though it's flicked back into an auction, I can go look at the positions here. And you can see in this Bitcoin US dollar market, I have an amount of allocated margin here. Great, it's 1745. And if I click on that, I get a helpful look at what my margin situation is. And basically, for those who haven't seen this before, I'm charged an initial margin to put the order on. So orders on Vega incur margin. And then if the order trades, I have an open position. And then my open position can incur mark-to-market settlement. So that is either gains or losses, depending on the market, if the market is going my way or not. And I'll show that again in a little while. So great. So I have, it looks like this traded. Now I said that the most I was willing to pay was 3,900, and you can see that the average, 38,900, sorry. And you can see that the average entry price is actually a bit lower. I think that that's because this got cleared in an auction. That wouldn't have been the case, I don't think, if it had been cleared on essentially in the order book. But nonetheless, that's great. I've got this long one position. As I said, it's incurring some unrealized P&L gains at the moment, which is great. And you can see I have in the bank from earlier when I was playing around some losses. So let's hope those gains can help mitigate that. Cool. So that's a limit order, and as I showed you that can be applicable for like a goods called cancelled order can be applicable for auction mode as well. If I want to close this order kind of quickly and easily, I can just click close here. It just brings up, shows me that it's going to be, I'm just going to do a short one. It's going to be a market order, so whatever price is available, and I can click short, and that will just close that position out for us. And you can see the open volume is going to 0. Great, let's go back to the deal ticket. So we're still on limit orders. And now I want to just try a different timing force. So why don't I do a good till time? What this means is I can set the amount of time that this order is open for. It's a limit order, so it's going to be applicable again on a auction. So if it clicks into auction, it will still check the time for me. So let's do good till time. I'm going to just make it 1 minute. Let's go short this time, shall we? So let's go, let's do 39. Let's do 39. 020. Right, so I'm going to click short. I don't think this will trade. What we should see is that here we go where our open orders are, that I've got a size of short 1. The remaining just refers to the fact that this hasn't traded yet. So I have, of my order, I have the whole 1 of it remaining left to trade. And I'll explain, I'll show if we put on an order of a greater size, how that can be useful, because the order can partially trade. And so the remaining shows what's left of the order that's waiting to trade. You can see that I've got my price here. What's cool is you can now see where this looks, if you go look at the chart. So you can see that my short 1, and you can see where it's sort of sitting relative to the recent trading activity of the market. That's also a new addition that John, one of our new front-end engineers, has been working on. So yeah, please don't hesitate, by the way, to give us any feedback on any of this in Discord. Right, see how that order then just disappeared. So I'm pretty sure that didn't trade. If I go look over here, yep, I have no extra open volume. In fact, fills refers to the trades that I've recently done. There's no BTC USD fills going on there. So yeah, I have 0 open volume. The good till time worked. It just cancelled after a minute. Great. So now an immediate or cancel refers to the fact that I basically, what the system does for an immediate or cancel is it tries to fill as much as it can immediately, and then it just cancels the rest. So let's take a look. If I again am doing a limit order, which is fine, let's now say that I want to do 10. Let's make the price 39.00. Moving around quite a lot. So, oh, we're back in an auction. Okay. All right, since we're back in an auction, I'm going to show you one of the other time enforcers, which is a good for auction only. This is handy because if I'm just interested in where the auction clears, so maybe I want to go 37,000 short. Great. So you can see down here where it has my open orders that it's showing it's GFA, good for auction. What that means is once the auction uncrosses, whatever of my volume could uncross with the auction will trade. And then any extra volume, it won't be taken over onto the limit order bit. So it won't transition, my volume won't transition from the auction back to the limit order bit. Okay, so I think the auction has uncrossed. You can see that I've now got some new open volume here. I'm short 10. That's not unsurprising because I said that I was willing to sell at quite a low price, and you can see that actually the average entry price, which is this will be the price that the auction cleared at, is the price I achieved for my volume. So that's great. Right, cool. So let's just close it out, but let's close it out instead of using the close over here. Let's go back and close it out, maybe using the immediate or cancel, because I was in the middle of showing that before we went into auction. So I want to go long here. This may be a little tricky to show. I'm going to just basically try and see if I can show you it doing a partial. 1, 2, 3 points, what are we? 8 and 3 and 2. 8 and 3. So what I'm going to do is just pop this as a bid just below where the current offer is, and see what happens here. One of our bots might trade it. It looks like it has traded. So if I go into the order history, you can see how the order disappeared. It's not an open order anymore. The order history is really handy for figuring out what's happened. So this is a +10, it was immediately cancelled. The status was stopped. I don't actually know why that was. Unless, again, it went into an auction that I hadn't seen. And I'm unfortunately not able to figure out why it was stopped in that case. So, oh, of course it was stopped. I'm being silly because it's an immediate or cancel. So I tried to put it in at 7371, which was just below the best offer. It didn't fill, and so it was cancelled. So now if I do it again, it's because we've still got our short 10 position. Now if I do it again, let's see what our price currently now is at. 39. I'm just going to go 143 because I just want this to trade. We're going to go immediate or cancel. I expect now for this to trade the full 10 because I've put a really quite ambitious price there. In fact, yeah, so let's do that. So you'll see it briefly sit here on the open orders. Now it's traded, it's closed out my open volume there. And if we go into the order history, you've got the +10, the remaining is 0 because the full amount was filled. There was a time enforced with an immediate or cancel, and this was the price that it was filled. Great. So what is next? Let's look at, let's put another order on. The system's just jamming a little bit. Apologies for that. As I said, my laptop's running a bit hot today. What else have we got? We've got fill or kill. Okay, so fill or kill is quite similar to immediate or cancel, and immediate or cancel and fill or kill are both non-persistent order types. So they reach the matching engine does whatever it can with them, and then it doesn't place them on the order book in any way. That's what we saw with the immediate or cancel. The first time I tried it tried to fill it, couldn't, so it just cancelled the order. It didn't put a bid at that price on the market. Okay, we're back in an auction. So I think this should only last a few seconds. So we'll just be a little patient here. Interesting point, actually, since we're talking about these non-persistent order types, they're also not available during an auction, because an auction by definition plays out over a period of time. So it's, yeah, you can't put a market order on, and you can't put you can't put it immediate or cancel, fill or kill on an auction either. So let's go back here. So we've got limit, fill or kill. So let's go 39,143. That's now looking quite low. If I go long, I expect this not to fill at all, and for the full 10 to just not be filled. Go long there. So it's a fill or kill time enforce. It doesn't hang around. If you go into the order history, similar to the immediate or cancel, you've got the +10 and it's been stopped. That's the status. Cool. And then the last time enforce is good for normal. And good for normal is actually referring to the fact that these markets have a default trading mode. And at the moment on Vega, the default trading mode that's available is the continuous trading using the central limit order book. So good for normal just means that while the market is in the limit order book mode, it's basically the opposite of good for auction at the moment. So it's while the market is trading in continuous trading, keep this order around. So don't move it to the auction order book if it transitions to auction. So let's just put a good for normal on. We'll get up to the open orders. Have we looking for prices? Wow, it's been quite brown. Okay, let's put this on as a limit order book long position. That we're going to be one of these prices over here if the market hasn't moved too quickly in that time. It has actually. That might have traded. Did it trade? Nope, we've gone into an auction, and you can see that it's gone into a monitoring auction and the open order disappeared. So it's not an open order on the auction book at the moment. And actually, if we go in here back to the order history, we can see that it was cancelled. So when it went into an auction mode, it was cancelled. So hopefully that's helpful in terms of looking at all the different timing forces. I just wanted to touch on what market orders are. So market orders, the key difference between market orders and limit orders are that you don't define a price for a market order. You're basically saying source the volume at any price that's available. So the different types of market orders that you can get, and so market orders are non-persistent because they are like at this point in time, when you hit the matching engine, source basically whatever you can. And so that naturally the two different time and force that you have available are the immediate or cancel, where it's like, if I want 10, fill as much of that 10 as you can on the order book. And if there's nothing left to fill, just cancel the rest. Whereas the fill or kill is either fill the whole 10 or cancel it. So don't fill 5 and cancel the other 5. Either fill the full 10 or don't fill any of it. And we're back in the monitoring auction. So I'm not going to show that to you right this second because that's not going to actually work. Okay, we're out of it. So let's go to a market order. Market order. Immediate or cancel. And I think that because of the amount of depth on the order book, I'm not really going to be able to show this working as I'd like to, but basically you'll see anyway, nonetheless, that if I put the immediate or cancel, what's actually going to happen, whether I go long or short, it will fill it. Let's go short on this one. So I want to go short 10, there's a remaining 10, it's immediate or cancel, so it's actually now hitting the order book, trying to figure out what it wants to do. You can see it's opened a position of 10 for me. If you go here, you can see the order is the short 10, it was immediate or cancel, and the status is that it was filled. Now let's do a market order, back in an auction. So let's do a good for auction, shall we? And let's try and close this out just for the fun of it while we're waiting for it to come out of auction. By the way, this flicking in and out of auction isn't really the behavior we normally expect. As I said before, we've been transitioning to new liquidity bots on the testnet and some new functionality of the liquidity mechanism. And so it's just a case of, hey, where, this is experimental technology. So hopefully, yeah, as you play around with it, you can you'll see that typically that isn't the expected behavior. Okay, again, we're back in an auction. So what I might do is just click into a different market because Vega seems to be liking a lot this Bitcoin USD. So I might go to the Vega market, a little bit less auctiony perhaps. Cool. And I think I've shown you enough of the market order probably. Let's go, I mean, we can do the fill or kill. It's going to look pretty similar at the moment. So let's go long, fill or kill. It's a market order, time and force is fill or kill. Naturally, it disappears quickly. It's a non-persistent order. If you go into the order history, you can see you've got the +10 market order fill or kill, and it's been filled. And if I go over here, I can see my +10 of open volume, and I start to see some allocated margins, some unrealized P&L, etc. And if I want to, I can just close it from here, and closing it from here is basically just doing the opposite, doing a sell 10 market order. And so if I just click short there, that should execute for me. You can see it's opened up this order in the order history. It's a short 10 market order. In this case, it was IOC. I could have changed that if I wanted, and that's been filled. So this is all the kind of things you're going to want to play around with when we launch some incentivized testnet games. Make sure you come along to the Testnet Jam next week because we'll be showing you some incentives, hopefully, getting you started on those games. But before I wrap this up, and perfect timing that it did slip into an auction, as I just wanted to show, good for auction only. I think I've actually probably covered that mostly. So I actually wanted to finish with liquidity provision. So I'm going to go back to the BTC USD. Sorry. I'm going to go to the liquidity provision order type. Now, I'm not going to walk you through this entire mechanism now, but if you want to know more about it, there was a really great community call that Barney gave a great overview of the liquidity mechanism, and then a testnet jam about 3 or 4 weeks ago that David did. And in that testnet jam, he was showing using the APIs, so using some code to submit the liquidity provision order. And it's very exciting to say that we can now do that through the console. So it'd be really cool for everyone to just have a play around and experiment with that. So when you are providing liquidity for a market, there are some things that you need to commit. So first of all, you commit a bond for the market. So this is a BTC US dollar market, and so we're back in an auction. And so the bond is going to be in DAI, so in that underlying settlement asset of the market. Let's try this on UniDAI, which isn't in auction. So we go with that. Since it's UniDAI, it's going to likewise be that the liquidity commitment is placed in DAI. Just while I'm waiting for this laptop to catch up with itself, yeah, just a reminder that, yeah, liquidity mechanism on Vega basically requires, anyone can do it, anyone can participate. It requires you to place a bond in the settlement asset of the market, and then basically nominate a fee. So nominate the price taker component, the liquidity component of the price taker fee. And there's only one price taker fee for the whole market, but this fee that you nominate is used as an input into calculating that. And if you want to know more about that, definitely go watch the videos that I mentioned. So in this case, I'm going to put in just a 1,000 DAI liquidity provision. I'm going to say I want this to be a really, really cheap market. So it's a nice low fee, very low fee actually. And then this is the exciting bit here, is basically when you provide liquidity on Vega, because they're order books, order book markets, you need to nominate what we call a shape, which is about like how you wish the liquidity provision to be distributed relative to some peg. And I think the current peg that the markets offer is pegged to the mid price. So if we have a look here, so this, I need to provide these shapes on both the buy and the sell side. So at the moment, I've got some default offsets that are just with suggestions, let's say, that have been put in. I'm just going to up them a little bit because they're quite high. So I'm going to say, actually, let's make that. So relative to the mid price, I'm going to have 1/3, if I've got a 1 and a 2, that's sort of 3 parts. I'm going to have 1/3 that's 0.001 of a tick away, and 2/3 that is 0.002 of a tick away. And let's do the same on the buy side. Great. And then I'm ready to go. That's all I've had to do. If I want to look at how other liquidity providers are on this market, I can have a look at, I can just click that and it shows the different parties. It can shows what fee bid they're nominating. It shows when they joined. It shows their equity like share of the market. It shows how much they've committed. I mean, we've got some really big commitments on this market because that's what the current bots are doing. And yeah, to more deeply understand this, please go and check out the videos I mentioned. But I just wanted to show how you could nice and easily set this going from the order book. So let's do place liquidity provision. Great. So what we should see as a result is you'll notice these open orders that have come up. Now you can see that these orders, they're a special order type called a pegged order, and so they're pegged to the mid price. What happens is that they get repriced after the mid price moves, basically. And that all happens automatically and atomically. You don't need to do anything. So it's a handy tool for traders. And the size of my order commitment is derived from two things. It's derived from the size of the commitment. So I put in $1,000 a commitment. It's also derived from how, essentially how competitive my prices are. So how close are they to the mid price, or how far away are they from the mid price? And that relates to basically how probable are they going to trade. And because orders incur margin on Vega, you're basically incentivized in a way to provide more competitive pricing, so ones that have a high probability of trading, because that translates to a lower volume, and that means a lower margin requirement. So here are the open orders. They're time and forces goods will cancel, they're pegged order, they're active, and you'll see them move around a bit. And you'll see over here that I've started to actually accrue some open volume. So some of these have traded. If I go into my fills, I should be able to see the trades that have happened. Actually, I just checked this earlier and I need to refresh to see that. And I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to reset my whole workspace. So just, oh, you can see they've come through. It's just a little bit of a lag. So you can see that there's been some fills there. That's what's responsible for creating this open position. You can see the average entry price. So this is, if I were a liquidity provider, I'd be thinking about how do I manage that open position as well? How do I close it out, either in another trading venue or directly in Vega, or look to correlated markets, or whatever. Lots of different tactics and techniques out there. So that's all of the order types that Vega currently has on offer, the different time and forces. I hope you guys have some fun playing around with that, and please hit us up for any questions on Discord, ideally, at really any of our channels. And I'm going to wrap up right now. I just wanted to show you how to cancel a liquidity order. Sorry, just wanted to show that. Basically, I just do the same thing, but I set my commitment to 0. I still need a number in the fee field, and I still need the orders. But now if I press place liquidity provision, we should see that these orders disappear as they have done. Great. All right, I'm going to hand back to Dagan. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Zoom room for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamlin. That was great. So we have a few questions. One being, so are there fees in the market, and if so, is it the makers or takers that will pay for the fees?
Yep. So it's the takers that pay the fees, and actually the makers make a little clip on their fee, so that it's not even a fee rebate. The makers literally make a slight positive gain if they're the price maker of the trade.
Perfect. So you're incentivized to place limit orders and be a market maker in the Vega testnet. And then we have questions from Brunswick, who says, can you drag limit orders up and down to move them to change the limit price?
That's a great idea. I don't think we can't right now, as far as I know, but that's a very cool feature request. I'll make sure we chat to the front end guys about that. And we also have a tool called Nolt, where you can feel free to add feature requests like that and feedback. Dagan, if you can link that, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah, I've taken a note. And another question from Brunswick again. He says, they say, will there be a margin calculator that will allow you to help calculate your margin requirements?
Yes, so I know I didn't go into that very deeply on this call. I meant to a little bit more, but you were able to see the margin, as I said, sort of an approximation of the margin anyway. For the first orders and trades that you put on, it's quite useful. As you get a sort of bigger portfolio, you might want to have your own calculator. It's definitely something we're thinking about, sort of a work in progress. There's some things we need to think about to do with how margins are calculated on Vega. But yeah, definitely the more sort of insight that you can get ahead of time as to what your margin cost might be, the better. I think something that's a little different about Vega to say a lot of other traditional trading platforms is that the margins, Vega is designed to offer the absolute maximum margin possible to traders at the moment. And so you could foresee that over time, we might have some front ends that allow you to kind of set your leverage to be less than the maximum leverage. And so that gives a little bit more control. But yeah, it's again, something that we love getting feedback on, and we'd love to have the community co-design this stuff with us. So please keep asking the questions, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Keep sending all the questions, because all the input you give actually goes to the team, depending on where you ask it. And we try to implement the upgrades and improvements and focus on some of the feature requests. I think, yeah, the best place to access would be on the Discord. You can access us on Telegram or on the community forums. And yeah, tune into the next Testnet Jam next Thursday at 6 p.m. They're a weekly thing. Every single week we cover something different. I've posted the Zoom room for the post-Testnet Jam meetup with the team, if any of you are interested in joining. I myself have a few questions on order types, so I'll be joining you there. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for tuning in. And this will be posted on YouTube within a few hours to days, where you can watch the recording back if you missed it. Bye.
Thanks everyone.